Hey everyone, hope you all are well. The first thing I'm doing today, as always, is priming the eye area, and to do that, I'm using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. I'm adding a few swipes of this across the eye area, and then I'm using a Wet n Wild P13 brush to buff and blend this product into the skin. Use whichever primer you have in your collection, and if you don't have one, you can prep the eyes with a little bit of foundation or concealer, and then add a dusting of face powder on top to set that creamy product in place before you move on to the powder shadows. So now that we are prepped and primed, I am moving on to the Urban Decay Naked Mini Half Baked palette. And I only actually copped the other day that I had uploaded a tutorial with the other two mini palettes in the collection, but not this one, so here we are. I've picked up some of the shade Book Off on a Sigma E25 blending brush, and I'm placing the brush down on the outer third of the crease, and I'm starting to sweep back and forward, pulling this all the way across the crease into that inner corner of the eye. And Book Off is a nice warm toned brown with a matte finish. It makes for a great transition shade, and once you've spread this colour across the crease, I'm then going to work on blending it out. So I'm using a mix of circular motions to start to pull and fade the shadow up towards the brow bone. And as always, I like to pull the shadow outwards on that outer corner just to give the eyes a nice lift. So I've got one layer of that shadow down now. Won't say it again in case I say the wrong term. But yeah, so I've just picked back up that shadow on my brush. I'm reapplying this into the crease. I don't want to have an issue with fallout. So again, I've just tapped off the excess, but I just don't find this shadow would give fallout anyway. I don't have an issue with blending. It blends very nicely and it lasts well on the eyes too. So very happy with this shade. It'd be great if you wanted to do one shadow look and add a lick of mascara. So the next shadow I'm taking then is called Edible. This is a gorgeous rich chocolatey brown shadow and it has a matte finish to it as well. I'm picking this up on that same Sigma brush. I've just dipped the brush in very carefully and coat with the very tip of the bristles. I didn't want to cover the brush entirely. I didn't want to overload the brush with shadow. It's a much deeper shade than the previous one and I want to be a bit more precise with my eyeshadow application. So I'm literally working just the smallest amount of the shade down on the outer third of the eyelid, fading it slightly across the lid and then up into the crease on the outer edge of the eye. So as you can see, just a light wash of that colour has been added so far, but it's still giving me a bit of depth. So I'm going back in now, tapping down a little bit more of that deep brown on the outer edge of the eyelid. And once again, I'm swirling it lightly up to the crease and fading what's left on my brush across the crease, just so I don't have a harsh divide between the two shades. I've obviously used this shadow with a very light hand, but it is very pigmented. It's nice and opaque. It blends well. Like the previous shade, it isn't powdery and it lasts really well on the eyes as well without fading. So I'm going to add some of the shade Breadwinner now on a flat C-shaped brush from Blank Canvas Cosmetics. This is the E24 brush and I'm just patting this shadow down onto the eyelid. So I've spritzed my brush with some of the Urban Decay setting spray to prevent fallout and just to help to adhere that shadow a bit better to the lid and make those shimmery particles pop. And it's a gorgeous copper with a metallic finish and it performs better with a medium but like this setting spray, but that doesn't bother me because I typically reach for one regardless. So I'm going back in now with that Edible shade and I'm reapplying this on the outer edge just to intensify it again, just ever so slightly, and then to make sure that it fades in with that metallic copper shade too. So I'm going then in with the shade Roland, the first shade in the palette, on a Sigma E30 pencil brush. Now to be honest, you could nearly not bother with this step. I thought it was going to be like Foxy from Naked 2 and it would just add a nice bit of brightness to the tear duct without shimmer, but it's no, it's pretty much non-existent. So now I'm reaching for my Smashbox shadow liner brush. I'm going back in with that first shade Book Off and I'm sweeping this down along the lower lash line from outer to inner corner, and I'm just making sure the shadow connects up on that outer edge. And these tones, if you have blue eyes especially, are really going to make your eyes pop. So then I'm going in with the shade Edible. I've just picked up a little bit on the tip of my brush again and I'm wriggling this into the base of my lashes and again looping it around, so I'm making sure that it connects on that outer edge, and I'm fading this kind of halfway across the eye. So for the waterline, I'm taking one of the NARS High Pigment liners. This is Mulholland Drive. It's a kind of shimmery brown, a rich shimmery brown, which is really nice. I'm just lining back and forward, frowning a little so that my waterline is exposed without tugging at the eye area. My eyes are sensitive, so I want to prevent them from watering, and this is just the best way to do it. Then I'm adding some of the So Sue London lashes, and I'm using the L'Oreal Air Volume Mega Lash Mascara just to blend my own lashes in with the false ones and to coat the bottom lashes, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, do let me know, and I'll catch you all really soon.